Eulalia once again made an excuse about a work issue during our dinner and left halfway through. I didn't try to stop her. Instead, I calmly finished my meal. That evening, I saw a post from her childhood friend on Facebook, a picture of Eulalia rolling up her sleeves to serve food onto the table. Sudden stomach problems, poor me. Eulalia was kind enough to cook for me. Whenever I need you, you're always there. That's my confidence. This time, I didn't call her to yell or argue. After that, I stopped opposing her whenever she left me to take care of her childhood friend. Instead, I just gently said, "It's okay." Later, her childhood friend posted another picture, this time of them playing a game and sharing a Pocky stick. I still had no reaction. That's when she finally panicked. Her eyes were red, anxious, and full of grievance. "Why aren't you angry?" Chapter 1. When Eulalia received the call, her steak had only been touched by 2 bites. "There's work at the company. I need to go deal with it." Go ahead." I cut a small piece of steak, put it in my mouth, tender and juicy, and felt quite satisfied. Eulalia seemed surprised by my calmness, her brows furrowing slightly. "I'll bring you a gift when I come back." With that, she hurriedly left. I calmly finished my meal, a little regretful. I hadn't expected this last anniversary to be spent like this. When I got home, I saw a Facebook post from her childhood friend Eric. The photo showed Eulalia rolling up her sleeves to serve food onto the table. Sudden stomach problems, poor me. Eulalia was kind enough to cook for me. Whenever I need you, you're always there. That's my confidence. I turned off my phone and went to bed. In the middle of the night, I heard someone entering the house using the password. I vaguely registered the sound, confirmed it was Eulalia, and drifted back to sleep. Before I fully fell asleep again, it felt like someone was watching me from beside the bed for a while. The next morning, after washing up, I made breakfast and set it on the table. Eulalia came into the dining room. She looked at the sandwiches and orange juice I had brought to the table and paused before asking, "Didn't you make my breakfast?" She didn't like Western breakfasts, and I usually didn't feel like making 2 different meals in the morning, so I always made 2 Chinese-style breakfasts for us. I forgot. Just order takeout or grab something on the way. I quickly finished eating and got ready to leave for work. When I looked up, I saw her face was dark. "I know you're mad at me for lying yesterday, but that's because you've been so difficult before." I was scared. "I'm not mad. Eric's stomach problems flared up yesterday, and since he lives alone, I couldn't leave him. I'm really not mad. Please don't make a scene. I've told you before I only see Eric as a brother. Why can't you understand? I'm really not mad, all right?" I couldn't help but raise my voice, but when I saw her shocked expression, I softened my tone. "I understand, but I have to go to work now. We'll talk about this later when I get back." With that, I didn't have the time to care about Eulalia's emotions and left for work. Chapter 2. At work, my boss called me into her office again, trying to persuade me to reconsider the overseas assignment. "David, this is a great opportunity. The environment and safety over there are both excellent. Please think it over again." She had already tried to convince me last time, talking about salary benefits and career development, but I had kept hesitating, always thinking about my relationship with Eulalia. I just couldn't make up my mind. But now, I raised my head and saw the slightly disappointed expression on my boss's face. "I've thought it over, boss. I'm willing to go." She was pleased, and honestly, the fact that I didn't let her down lifted a weight off my heart. After work, I had dinner outside. When I came back home, I was surprised to find Eulalia was already back. "That was rare. You're late," she said calmly, handing me a box. "Anniversary gift." I blinked, then took the box with a sheepish smile. "Thank you. I forgot to buy your gift. Can I make it up to you later?" Her expression darkened slightly. "David, calm down and listen to me. I've told you many times before. Eric and I grew up together. It wasn't easy for him to come to this city on his own, and I promised his parents I'd take care of him." I could tell she was upset, but I still didn't quite understand. "Don't get worked up. I understand. Just say what you want to say, don't act like this," she snapped, angrier now. "I've told you so many times, Eric and I only have sibling-like feelings. Why can't you believe me? Think about it. If I really wanted to be with him, why would I be with you?" I tried to comfort her. "Calm down, I'm not angry. I really do believe you and Eric are just like siblings. You... She held back a breath. After a few moments, her chest heaving, she finally said, I'm hungry. Sorry, I already ate outside. You can order takeout or cook something yourself. There are ingredients in the fridge. What followed was the sound of her slamming the door. Chapter 3. Just as I was about to sleep, Eulalia returned. She walked in and stared at me intently. It's raining outside. Well, why don't you dry your hair or take a shower? She was indeed wet, but I didn't understand why she was telling me this. In disbelief, she said, I didn't bring an umbrella. I've been outside for 5 hours. It's raining. Aren't you worried? You weren't like this before. When we argued, you'd call me or ask my friends about my situation after I left. At the very least, you'd keep the lights on in the living room and wait for me to come back. But today I was out for 5 hours and you didn't even call once. I spoke gently. I didn't contact you because you're an adult now, and you know how to take care of yourself. Plus, I didn't want to embarrass you by asking your friends about your whereabouts. Eulalia's expression froze. She must have remembered something she had said to me before. Are you done? I'm an adult and I know what I'm doing. Why do you have to pressure me like this? And why did you bother my friends with phone calls? Do you know how they mocked me for it? Back then, when I had frantically asked around for hours to find her and finally learned where she was, I was relieved, only to be met with her angry scolding instead of gratitude. But I didn't want to dredge up old arguments. I'd been busy with work before the overseas assignment, and honestly, I was a little tired. Okay, you should go take a shower so you don't catch a cold. I turned and went into the master bedroom. Thinking about the work I had to hand over, it took me a while to fall asleep. In a half-sleep state, I felt someone touch my face. Then I heard a sigh and the bed sank beside me. Chapter 4. Eulalia seemed really upset. She was coming and going early in the morning and late at night, avoiding me, and not sending me any messages. I actually found it quite peaceful and wasn't going to make things worse for myself. But after 5 days of Cold War, she actually messaged me first. I'll cook dinner tonight. Come back and eat. Honestly, I was quite surprised when I saw her message, because it had always been me cooking. I had even pouted and complained about how tiring it was. Asking her to cook for once, she had only held me and said, my almost non-existent cooking skills might send you to the hospital. And besides, I just want to eat the meals you cook for me. At the time, I was so blinded by love that I didn't question the contradiction between her words and reality. To make dishes that suited her taste, I had worked hard following recipes after work, enduring countless cuts and burns. Wasn't until Eric told me that Eulalia could actually cook that I realized I had been living in a sweet illusion. One where my girlfriend would often eat meals I had cooked for her. After a huge argument with Eulalia, her response had been calm as ever. Eric doesn't know how to cook, and he's particular about food. I couldn't let him keep ordering takeout. He's not like you, who can eat anything. I'm just taking care of my older brother. You're an adult now. Stop expecting others to cook for you all the time. If you think it's such a burden to cook for me, then don't. I don't have to eat the meals you make. After that, I still forgave her, even after her not-so-sincere apology. What was that saying again? Tears in love are just water in the brain. But I still replied to her message, okay. We were about to break up anyway. If possible, let's part on good terms. When I opened the door, I heard Eulalia call from the kitchen, David, wash your hands and sit down for a bit. The food will be ready soon. I sat at the dining table, feeling a sense of deep reflection. I hadn't expected Eulalia to take the initiative to cook. If she had done this any other day before, I would have been overjoyed. Eulalia quickly brought over 4 dishes and a soup. Though they were all relatively light after tasting them, I had to admit that Eulalia was a good cook. David, she called my name, her voice carrying a slight tinge of grievance. Why haven't you talked to me for so many days? Whenever we've had a Cold War before, you'd be the first to reach out to make up. But this time, you didn't contact me even once for 5 whole days. I swallowed my food. I thought you needed some space. We were silent for a moment. After a while, she carefully added, that day, I had to cook for Eric because he missed dinner due to his stomach issue. I'll teach him how to cook soon and I won't keep going over there. Okay. I was worried she'd suddenly get angry again, thinking I didn't understand her. So I just gave a vague response and quietly continued eating. How about this month's gathering? Why don't you come with me? I was surprised and looked up to see the hopeful look in her eyes. Chapter 5 Eulalia had taken me to her friends' gatherings before, but we both knew that what she was referring to this time was their special monthly gathering. The special part wasn't the content of the gathering, but the people who attended, only the members of their group, no spouses or anyone outside the circle. I'd asked her to bring me along before, but at first, she brushed it off. When that didn't work, she got angry with me. "David, are you annoying me on purpose? Can't you stop being so clingy? It's suffocating me. I've told you before, this is a monthly get-together for just us friends. Why do you have to interfere with my personal space like this?" I ended up flipping the table, yelling at her about how she was still taking Eric along. She responded coldly, "Eric grew up with me and knows all these people. He's not an outsider. Besides, he doesn't have any friends here, and I'm just trying to keep him from being lonely. You don't need to act all suspicious like a crazy person." I hadn't expected her to bring it up again now. However, with all the preparations for my overseas transfer, I was extremely busy, so I politely declined. Besides, my relationship with her friends was always a bit lukewarm. Given the current situation, there was no need to push myself into more awkward interactions. Work's been really busy lately, so let's just skip it. Eulalia slammed her chopsticks down on the table. Her face was weary, and her voice came out as a sigh. "David, I know you've been upset about Eric, and I've been accommodating you these past few days, but I'm exhausted too. I've lowered myself enough for you. What more do you want? You're 28 years old. Stop acting like a child throwing tantrums." "You misunderstood," I said calmly. "Work really is just busy right now." "Fine, whatever," she said stiffly. We finished dinner in silence, without saying another word. Chapter 06. In the end, Eulalia still took Eric to the gathering. That same day, a project at work ran into an issue. I was just about to leave, but since I was involved, I stayed late with my colleagues to help fix things. During a short break, I checked my phone and saw a WeChat message from Eric. He had sent a photo. He and Eulalia were smiling, sharing a Pocky stick. The caption read, "Ha ha ha, these guys are too much. They made me and Eulalia play this as a punishment. I hope David won't mind." I chuckled and casually replied, "No problem. I don't mind." Then I muted my phone and got back to work. By the time I finished up, I saw that Eulalia had called me several times and sent dozens of messages. It was just part of the game punishment. I broke it off quickly as our lips didn't touch. They were really far apart. "Can you reply to me, please?" "David, we decided to go eat at the new stir-fry place nearby. One of my colleagues called me over. We had planned to grab dinner together after work." "I'm coming," I said, walking out of the office building, only to find Eulalia waiting for me outside. Was she really waiting for me here? How long had she been standing there? She looked up, her eyes lighting up when she saw me. She quickly walked over. "You guys finished already?" I asked, a little confused. Normally, their gatherings didn't end until much later. "I left early," she replied. That was unexpected. Like the sun setting in the west. I thought of Eric and asked, "What about him?" "I dropped him off at home. I'm going to have dinner with my colleagues. You..." I hesitated, unable to bring myself to invite her along. Before I could finish, she said, "It's fine, I'll wait for you." Well, I couldn't just eat with my colleagues knowing she'd be waiting in the car for me. I quickly told my colleagues I wasn't joining them and went to be alone with her. She looked at me quietly, her eyes slightly red. "You're not angry?" she asked. "Huh?" Then I realized she was talking about Eric's Pocky post. "You were just playing a game." "I'm not that petty." Her mouth opened slightly, and in the dim light, the sadness in her eyes was unmistakable. I couldn't help but think back to a similar incident. A party where her friends made her drink with Eric, and they posted a photo online. Back then, I was furious, just like today. I called her over 10 times until she blocked me. When she finally got home, she didn't comfort me. Instead, she scolded me, saying my heart was filthy and that I saw problems everywhere. She even told me to see a psychologist. Now, looking at me, she softly said, "David, let's go grab dinner." And just like that, she quickly changed the topic. Chapter 07, but I didn't agree to have dinner with her. "There's a place nearby that sells the snail noodles and stinky tofu I've been craving," I said. I won't pollute the air in your car. I'll just take a cab home afterward. It's fine, she said urgently, almost desperately. You can eat it in my car. I don't mind, I froze. Was this really Eulalia? The same Eulalia who used to obsess over cleanliness, who wouldn't let anyone eat in her car? But I didn't feel like arguing. I just nodded and decided to go along with it. She didn't drive home, though. Instead, she took a detour and parked near the entrance of the food street. David, wait here a moment, she said before getting out and walking toward the street. I sat there alone in her car, my mind wandering. She had never allowed me to eat in her car before. Once I had been running late and ate a piece of bread in her car, leaving crumbs. She threw a tantrum, parked the car, and lectured me. I ended up taking a cab to work that day. That was one of the few times I stood up for myself, but afterward, she explained her obsession with cleanliness and said it was just because she cared about her car. I had my doubts about our relationship even back then, but I convinced myself she was just that kind of person. From then on, I never ate in her car again. But that was always a ticking time bomb between us. The last straw came when she drove me to a party and Eric was eating chips and spicy snacks in her car. I got cold and distant, mocking her in front of him. So you have selective car cleanliness now? Or is it just me who's not allowed to eat in your car because I'm an outsider? Eric froze, embarrassed, and put the snacks away. Eulalia glared at me. You're sick, she snapped. Then she drove off, leaving me behind. When we got home, she yelled at me for hours. Eric has stomach issues. He needs snacks sometimes. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? Where are your manners? Then she sneered and said, Fine, I'll tell you. Eric has the privilege of eating in my car. You don't. You're just an outsider. Got it? That was the closest we ever came to breaking up. How did we make up after that? I don't even remember. I guess I just wasn't ready to let her go. The strong smell of snail noodles and stinky tofu pulled me out of my thoughts. She returned with takeout, the pungent smell already leaking through the bags. Eat while it's hot. Fill your stomach first, she said, handing me the food with a forced smile. We can look for something else after, or I can cook for you at home. I shook my head. No need. The snail noodles and stinky tofu are enough. Then I leaned back in my seat, waiting for her to drive. Is something wrong? Not hungry? She asked. I smiled faintly. No, I'm just thinking about how inconvenient it'll be for you to drive if I eat here. I'll just eat at home. It's fine, we can park here, she insisted. It'll be cold if you wait. I was hungry, so I agreed. After eating, I looked around for a trash can, but she started the car. It's fine, she said. Just leave the trash in the car. We'll throw it away when we get home. The drive was quiet. At one point, I noticed her wanting to say something but holding back. Focus on the road, I reminded her. She nodded and said nothing. Once we reached the apartment complex, I grabbed the trash bag, intending to toss it out. David, she said, stopping me. She took the bag from my hand and shook it. Some of the broth spilled onto the seat she cleaned daily. I stared, confused. What are you doing? She looked at me, eyes intense. You can eat whatever you want in my car from now on. It doesn't matter if you spill or dirty anything. From now on, you're the only one with that privilege. Eric won't have it. I honestly thought she'd gone mad. I stood there in silence for a long moment before saying, It's late. You should get some rest. Chapter 08 that night. When I was lying in bed, she crawled into my arms. David, let's talk properly, she said. I frowned, ready to make an excuse to push her away. But her phone suddenly rang. The screen lit up. The name Eric appeared. She froze, hesitating. Seeing her conflicted expression, I laughed softly. Go ahead and answer it. Maybe it's urgent. She got up and answered. Eric? What's wrong so late? Your stomach's acting up again? Call 120. It's inconvenient for me to come right now. Is it unbearable? Okay, I'll come right away. She turned to me with an apologetic expression. Eric might be in trouble. I have to go. Afraid I wouldn't believe her, she added. This time might really be serious. I'm worried about him. You know how... He's your childhood friend. I understand, I said, smiling tiredly. But I noticed she didn't realize that by saying this, she was admitting she knew Eric had lied about his excuses before. I yawned. It's fine. Go ahead. She looked at me with a complicated expression. I'll come back as soon as I can. When the door closed behind her, I fell asleep almost immediately. Chapter 09. When I woke up in the morning and went to wash up, the house looked exactly as it had the night before. As expected, Eulalia hadn't come back. I felt calm. This was nothing surprising anymore. Since I had the day off, I decided to make the most of my last days in the country and go shopping. While I was out, Eulalia called me. "David, I'm sorry about last night." "It's fine." "How's Eric?" When I got there, his stomach pain had eased up, but, I understand. Don't worry about it." "No, listen to me," she said sharply. It was late, and I was worried he might relapse, so I stayed over to keep him company. But I slept in the living room. Nothing crossed the line, I swear. I believe you. David, listen to me. I know you're disappointed in me. This morning I talked to Eric. From now on, I'll keep my distance from him and stop meddling in everything. Her voice sounded urgent, but strangely hopeful. Eric promised he won't contact me for everything anymore. And he wants to apologize to you by taking you out to eat. He knows he was wrong before. He really means it, and this will be the last time. Can we have this meal with him? It's the final closure. I thought about it. Sooner or later, this had to end. Better to face it head on. All right, I agreed. Chapter 10. To my surprise, the day they scheduled the meal was also the day I was flying abroad. Luckily, it was a lunch meeting. If it ended quickly, I could still catch my evening flight. Before that, I said goodbye to my colleagues and friends. They joked, asking if I had any problems leaving. For 3 years, especially without my girlfriend. Objecting, I told them plainly that I would be breaking up with her. They were surprised but didn't pry. Over the past few days, Eulalia had been in a good mood, as if she believed that once the Eric situation was resolved, everything would go back to normal. On the day of the lunch, she drove me to the restaurant she had booked. I didn't even ask where we were going, but I was surprised when we arrived. It was a Sichuan restaurant. She had always said oily, spicy food was unhealthy, and she used to stop me from eating it. So she really did know what I liked after all. When we walked in, Eric was already there. The moment he saw Eulalia, he rushed over and gave her a bear hug. She quickly pushed him away. Glancing nervously at me, "Eric," she said seriously, "I have to tell you that there's a difference between men and women. We're adults now, and this kind of behavior isn't appropriate." Eric shrugged. "All right, I knew you'd side with your boyfriend." I just smiled and said nothing. In the past, I would have been furious seeing them act this close. We would have fought after. But this time, no matter how they acted, I felt nothing at all. Seeing my calmness, Eric's eyes flashed with a faint sneer. Then he sat down and sincerely apologized. "I'm sorry, David. I was too careless before. Even though I know you're generous and wouldn't mind, I still feel bad. From now on, I won't contact Eulalia anymore. I'll leave her to you." Eulalia still couldn't hold it in and sighed. "It's not that serious. If something really happens, you can still come to me. David's not petty." I wasn't interested in Eric's performance. I picked up the menu and ordered boiled fish and spicy chicken, then handed the menu to both of them. Eric looked surprised. "David, both of these are spicy." "You like spicy food?" Eulalia is so good to you." "She doesn't have a good stomach and doesn't like spicy food, just like me." It's fine. She doesn't like it, but I do. He probably didn't expect me to be so direct." Eric was momentarily speechless. These two really were the perfect pair, both with bad stomachs. I raised an eyebrow. Eulalia looked embarrassed and quickly denied it. "I don't have a bad stomach and I don't dislike spicy food. I just rarely eat it." "Eulalia, you're really too good to David. I envy him so much," Eric said. He ordered stir-fried cabbage and roast duck, then tried to win her favor. "Hey, I'm still the one who treats you the best. I'm always thinking of you when I order food." Then he smiled at me. "David, I don't mean anything by it. Don't overthink it. I'm just concerned about Eulalia." I took a sip of tea. "It's fine. I'm not overthinking." Eulalia's face darkened, but she still endured it and said, "All right, let's just let them bring the food now." "Ah, Eulalia, don't you want to order? Aren't 2 non-spicy dishes too few?" "It's fine, this is enough." "Well, okay then." Eric flipped through the menu. "I'll order one more thing." He ordered a chicken cutlet. When the food arrived, the waiter told me the drink I had ordered was sold out and asked if I wanted to substitute it. I didn't mind and was about to nod when Eulalia suddenly stood up and said she'd go outside to the supermarket to buy it. She hurried out, leaving her phone on the table. Chapter 11. After Eulalia left, Eric gave me a smile. David, there's something I couldn't say in front of Eulalia just now. I think you're being a bit selfish and ordering food without considering Eulalia's preferences. Isn't it the job of a boyfriend and girlfriend to take care of each other? I'm younger than you by a few years, and I know these things. With you acting like this, I'm really worried about leaving her with you. Don't blame me for being overbearing. I couldn't be bothered to tell him that for the past few years, I had always been the one compromising for Eulalia's tastes. But then, Eulalia came back to retrieve her phone. Her face turned pale as she stood behind him. What are you looking at behind me? Do I have Eulalia? Eric stood up in panic, then turned back to glare at me fiercely. Eric, you're overstepping! Eulalia's voice turned cold. Don't forget, you came here to apologize and not to make things harder for me. Eulalia, you misunderstood. I just wanted to tell David to care for you more in the future. I don't need you to tell him that. I'll pamper my boyfriend myself. This was a conversation that had come up countless times between me and her over the years. Now it was playing out between her and Eric. Eric, and who had always been put first in her life, didn't expect this kind of response from her. He stared at Eulalia in disbelief for a moment, then awkwardly said, All right, I know I've been disturbing you. I won't do it again. With that, he hurriedly left the restaurant. I nodded toward the door. Aren't you going to chase him? No need, she replied. He's a grown man and it's broad daylight. Nothing will happen. She sat back down. Let's eat. She had completely forgotten she was supposed to go out and buy me a drink. After taking a few bites, her phone rang. She picked it up and hung up. Then it rang again, and she hung up once more. It repeated several times. The caller was persistent, as though they absolutely needed to get through. The other customers around us started to glance at our table, some even frowning. Answer it. What if something's wrong? It's fine, it's always like this with him. He wouldn't call if it was anything important, but your phone keeps ringing like this. It'll disturb other people. She hesitated, but then reluctantly answered the call. This time, the voice on the other end was loud enough for me to hear a few words. Sorry. Eulalia, I didn't mean to bother you. It's just that I ran out of money in my phone and my data's all used up. I don't know how to get home. I asked a few taxi drivers, but none of them would wait for me to get my money. The voice sounded very sincere, and Eulalia visibly hesitated. I watched with interest. She was uneasy, but after a moment, she stood up. David, I promise this is the last time. I won't get involved again. She probably wanted to reassure me, so she leaned in to kiss me, but I avoided it. Seeing her hurt expression, I urged, Go quickly. It'll be bad if something really happens. David, wait for me. I'll be back as soon as I can. Without waiting for my response, she fled the restaurant, almost as if she were escaping. I was left alone with the dishes on the table, feeling a bit regretful that I had to waste the food. At the next table, a few young people, probably college students or just starting out in society, kept glancing at me, hesitant. I looked back at them with a questioning glance. One brave person finally spoke up. Hey, bro, you really shouldn't trust that bad. Your girlfriend. The others nodded in agreement. Yeah, exactly. I laughed out loud, genuinely appreciating their concern. Thanks for your kindness. I know what I need to do.